Here today with Dr. Shelley Armstrong at Castle Heights Elementary, and we are talking about the curriculum for this year. And so, Shelley, tell us what excites you about the K-2 teachers teaching the skills curriculum and also adding the Sound Source activities this year.
Well, there are a couple of things that I think are really exciting. First of all, it's a systematic program. In the past, we have seen the evidence of students who have gaps, and that could be a variety of reasons. It could be just transitioning in and out of school. It could be just they weren't developmentally sort of ready for that skill at the time when it was presented. However, we noticed that it was not uncommon for students to have those gaps. So with this curriculum, I feel like it does a couple of things. It empowers teachers with the tools. They understand the progression. And if a student does have a gap for whatever reason, it's very explicit on how to then target that gap and move them on through that progression. And in years prior, we may not have had that capacity with teachers understanding some of that, and then B, having the necessary resources or tools to sort of back up and then target those. So I'm very excited about that. It is a Sounds First approach, which is research-based. It follows what is developmentally appropriate and in line with the science of reading, which is also very exciting because the mind is a fabulous thing and a mysterious thing. So there are oftentimes we would see kids would get to a certain point, and prior they would have looked like they were on grade level, they were on target. But at some point things seemed to sort of erode. They weren't progressing. They were kind of stuck on a skill. And when we would investigate that, we would find that that might even be a phonological skill from, what would have been prior, maybe a couple of years prior when they would have been exposed to that. So I feel like this will allow us to remediate that a lot sooner. We won't have those gaps that maybe crop up years later, and that's very exciting. That's exciting for outcomes for students. It's exciting for the capacity it builds in our teachers, and ultimately I think it builds strong readers and then critical thinkers in the future. So that's exciting.
It is exciting, and I think you see the benefits of focusing on pre-K 2 and all of those foundational skills to make sure that those gaps don't occur then, and when they get on to future years of 3 and up, then they're rock solid with that.
Definitely, and pre-K is such a pivotal point for a lot of reasons, the socialization, the structure of schooling, allowing them that exposure to those skills, and we do see a definite benefit for students who have been in our pre-K programs and have had that instruction and all of those routines. They come in at a point that puts them, at an advantage because they have been exposed to a lot of that curriculum. I also am excited about, it brings in a lot of kinesthetic movements, hand movements, being able to think about sounds in discrimination. And, we know that brain research teaches that kinesthetic movement, all of the different things when we're doing and talking about letters and sounds and those correspondences, having that built into the curriculum is also an added benefit.
Yes, and talking about pre-K last year, the teachers definitely saw how kids were advanced by using the Sounds First activities, and that was even in a COVID year when they were not always present in school, but still their skills at the end of the year were advanced versus prior years. So we are really hoping to take that momentum and build in kindergarten this year, and then also with instituting the Sounds First activities in all K-2, also to see that bump up in their phonological awareness and seeing the results there. So
definitely
we see in pre-K.
We do. We see that. We hear it from teachers. They have seen the benefit. I think as anytime you change and you make a move from what you've done prior, I think the benefit of the COVID year gave teachers the comfort level to sort of work into it and not feel the pressure and the questioning of, in the previous curriculum we would already be at this point and we're not quite there, and they felt nervous. But To be honest, at the end of it, they were very pleased with where kids were. They felt very comfortable in the process of the curriculum, doing that with Fidelity, and had a better overall understanding of what the point of the curriculum was and the purpose of it. They really enjoyed the components of the curriculum when they needed something extra to do with kids. If they felt like a child was needing extra help on this skill, they felt really empowered that the curriculum offered a variety of opportunities for them to work with children. And so I do feel like that added to their comfort level with the curriculum. I think it added to their overall belief in what they're doing is the best approach and good for students and ultimately their reading outcomes.
Perfect. So talk a little bit more about how you support your teachers in your building, specifically using the foundational skills and curriculum, both that and the Sounds First activities here. This year, what are you doing to support them?
We're in and out. Our instructional team here, we have instructional coaches. The assistant principal and myself are in and out of classrooms often. We are supporting teachers and ensuring that they have the support they need, the resources they need. So that could be through coaching, mentoring. If we have a couple who are new to the grade level. Fortunately, we've had the Reading 360 training, which has been a great benefit. And just having that mentor attitude, that collaborative spirit. I was fortunate last year to do some work with the Instructional Practices Guide, the IPG. So having conversations around that tool, the awareness of the teachers of that tool, also giving them a mark to ensure that when they are in the instruction, they are hitting those pieces. It's a nice guide, and it's very concise, and it supports what they are to be doing with the curriculum. So I think conversations around that are great. They ask questions. They ask for people to come in and support them. And I think anytime you build a culture where teachers are open and feel comfortable asking and inviting people in for feedback, that's where we want to be. So I'm excited about that. And, that feedback piece is very important in supporting our teachers.
And I agree with you. I think this is the best year ever because we have high quality materials in teachers' hands where they can teach and they can spend time planning and teaching rather than looking for materials. And also we've built teacher advocacy through the Reading 360 and all of the training that we've had. And so I expect it's going to be an awesome year. I'm looking forward to the results myself.
We are too. The kids are, they come in, they're excited about the routines, the movement. I know a teacher was talking about, she started implementing the wiggle cards and just different things with the curriculum. So I think Fidelity is very important, and that's another way that we support in letting them know we understand the curriculum. Oftentimes, teachers worry that if a certain part of their instruction maybe isn't as collaborative or whatever with the team rubric, do we understand why it's not that way? Do we understand why they're doing certain routines? So we want to build their comfort level in assurance that we understand the curriculum and what it requires. And so at any point in time, we are aware of why they would be doing instructionally what it is that they're doing. So when they're working on that foundational piece, there are reasons why they are doing those routines. And when they're in the knowledge piece, or, there are reasons why they're doing what they're doing. And we ourselves have been students of that curriculum, and we understand why they're doing what they're doing. And I think that gives them a comfort level in just going in and feeling comfortable to do what the curriculum is meant for them to do.
Awesome. So just one last question.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for other administrators in Tennessee who might be contemplating starting the Sounds curriculum, the foundational skills curriculum, or Sounds First activities? What advice might you have with someone else in a leadership role?
I think it's vitally important that they have some background or they begin to look at the science of reading and why that approach is appropriate. I think if you don't have some of that knowledge, it might be a little hard to understand why the curriculum unfolds as it does. So I think having the understanding of the science of reading and best practices is very important. And then understanding the importance of fidelity of implementation. Oftentimes, we want to honor professionals and what they bring to the table, but we can't ignore science and research. And so, teachers need to have empowerment. They need to understand, but they also need to understand the scientific process and doing that with fidelity and not just doing the pieces and the parts that either A, they feel comfortable with or that they see as important, because when that happens, it's no longer research-based because you're departing from what was studied. And so I think also if I'm going to support that, then I need to support the implementation with fidelity and give my teachers the license to do what it says to do, and to also encourage them to do what it says to do as an expectation. So I do think that they appreciate not having to sort of hodgepodge and pull together. But with that, we have invested in this tool. So there is an expectation and an understanding that they've been given all of these resources because they are what's best. And so within that, we do expect that they would deliver it as it's intended to be delivered. So I think it would be important to understand that, because your product is only as good as your fidelity of implementation would be. And it could be easily, not delivered appropriately. And I would say that's a very important piece to the curriculum.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.